We're in Peoria, Mississippi at the Petrified Forest. Yeah, they got one here in Mississippi. It's a registered national natural landmark. These trees did not live here. They were brought down as floating in a stream and log jammed up here apparently, where they were quickly buried by the silt and then protected from rotting. Called the bench, this is part of at least a 40-foot long tree of petrified wood. Trees identified here as petrified include the sequoia, maple, fir, and spurge, as well as some extinct varieties. Hollowed out, it was a huge tree when it was alive. The mineral most found in petrified wood is quartz. Quartz is the most common mineral in the earth. We'll be taking the Natchez Trace Parkway now for a while, probably all the way to Nashville. We stopped to walk a nature trail, found a swamp to start with. Just like in the movies, eh? A tornado came through here in the spring of 2011. Whatever trees were left standing were pretty much stripped of any foliage and branches. Almost 200 years old now. We'll take a look at what's left of one small section of the trace. Now, nature, of course, is ready to reclaim this any time, so they keep it cleared out as best they can. It's a constant war. One of the things I have to watch out for is Benji getting into poison ivy or poison oak. It probably won't bother him. It'll be on his fur, which of course will immediately transfer to me. The old adage of leaves of three, leave it be. Learned that in the Boy Scouts. I don't think this is poison ivy, but I'm going to leave it be anyway. All of the land immediately adjacent to the trace is owned by the Park Service. Some of it's under cultivation, obviously privately owned. The birthplace of Elvis Presley, born here on January 8th, 1935, in a house built by his father. A lot of people wonder how Elvis got his name, but obviously he was named after the street in the city where he was born. Looks like a smaller version of one of those shotgun houses. Elvis attended this Pentecostal church about a block away from his home. It's been moved onto the property. The gift shop is bigger than the museum. We are at the Tupelo Automobile Museum. 1915 International Harvester. 1886 Mercedes-Benz. 1964 Corvair, dubbed unsafe at any speed because of the gas tank in the rear. A 59 Edsel. I remember a comedian of the day calling it an Oldsmobile sucking on a lemon. Things like that killed it. Was otherwise a nice car. Ford Skyliner, a hard-top convertible. The whole thing folded up into the trunk. 1948 Tucker. That middle headlight swiveled with the steering wheel. 76 Lincoln. Elvis purchased this and gave it to the local police chief. $13,000. An 81 DeLorean. A stainless steel body. Very few people saw it necessary to paint them. An 82 Barrister Corvette, owned by Liberace. A 74 Volkswagen Super. I bought a 77 model brand new for $3,000 cash. Literally counted it out on the salesman's desk. 67 Citroen, a French. 41 Ford Woody. Surfers love this because their board would fit inside. It's been rainy out the next day on the trace. We've been seeing a lot of wild turkeys on the road. Nashville, Tennessee, in the Centennial Park, built to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the state. In it they have a reproduction of the Parthenon, a Greek building, you'll remember. This is the only full reproduction in the world. Said to be an exact copy. Apparently one of the most popular places in Nashville is an antique store run by the people who appear on American Pickers, a reality TV show. Very popular, very long running. The building is built in 1881, originally, obviously, an automobile manufacturer. One man's junk, another man's treasure. Now they lay claim to having some very unusual vehicles. We'll go take a look. Still in Nashville. We parked around back to find some shade, and we found this big old Army vehicle. Note that it is licensed for the road. Yes, there are some unusual ones, and yes, it is driven by the propeller. Built in the 1930s and is licensed, can be licensed in at least France, which is where it was built. It's almost a toy. And another toy, and another toy, and another, and another, and another. And they're all licensed at one time for the roads they drove on. This is a Bantam Roadster. No, not a Bantam Rooster. Made in America in 1940. The Midget Roadster. Even the boat it pulls is small. 1942 Peugeot French. I don't know where to stop taking pictures. Steam powered by steam, handmade by a steam engineer. One of a kind car, the 1950 Martin, built by the guy named Martin in New York. One of the few car museums I would label as a must-see if you're in Tennessee. Propeller-driven bicycle. Motor is on the back with a pusher prop. One of the original motorhomes built in 1960 to 69 in California, called the Go Home.
Kentucky, Allen, Simpson, and Warren. Strong thunderstorms with dangerous lightning, heavy rain, penny-sized hail, and 40 miles per hour winds.
Now we stop in Candor, Kentucky. Yep, Kentucky Fried Chicken. But it doesn't look like Kentucky Fried Chicken, does it? If you look at that red neon sign carefully, you'll see it reads Sanders Cafe. This is where it all started. Birth of a legend. Kentucky's most famous citizen. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. his office, in the kitchen at his cafe where he invented the recipe. Getting up into the Appalachian Mountains now in eastern Kentucky. We're at the Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. Billed as the Niagara of the South, it's one of the more famous ones and more spectacular, they say. We'll go take a look. The water on the rock bed here is left over from rains. The river hasn't been up this high recently, but obviously it does flow up here, or has in the past. Now, Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett may have seen this river looking like this. Been designated a wild river, this 16-mile segment of this Kentucky River. You ever heard of a moon bow? Put your TV on pause and check this. Now it's pretty obvious where these rocks came from. I hope we don't get some more. At some time in the past, the river below the falls was high enough to pile this debris up. You can imagine the amount of water going over the falls then. Said to be the largest waterfall south of the Niagara and east of the Mississippi. I had mentioned in one of my trip logs about the Walmart parking lot having been carved into a hillside. This is a good example of it. Now, it's not Walmart per se. I think it's more just a matter of a lack of flat land. Here they've used up what the land they have that's flat, so they have to make more of it by digging up the hillside. Close to West Virginia, and we're finding coal now. We just passed over the western border of West Virginia, and we're stopping at the Huntington Museum of Art, where I saw these guys. You ever wonder if they're solid? Nope. Before the gun. Guns for dueling. Target and hunting. That gun on top was made in 1640 and has bone inlay. Remington, Colt, Smith & Wesson, Winchester. These are the tools required to make a gun. Kentucky rifles, the best of their day. The Near East. Wow, just like Genghis Khan. End of the Trail by Frazier. Entitled Cheyenne by our old friend Remington. Silver sterling serving dishes. Glass. Hand blown. I've read about Amazon services. This is where you order something on Amazon and save the shipping by picking it up at one of their warehouses. This is the first one I've seen.